So guys, I'm underneath the weather just a little bit, so I do apologize for the heavy breathing. But anyway, today's review, the Jaxx Active Noise Cancelling True Wireless Earbuds. And you can find this at $10 and Five Below. This is more so in the 10 and beyond section, but for the people that don't have that, you'll probably just find it for $10 on the shelf. We do have quite a few features. Everything from USB-C, which is pretty standard for charging. You do have ANC mode, transparency mode, and a normal mode. You do, I'm not sure if this has a water rating, but it is $10, so I'm not surprised if it doesn't. You do have touch controls, built-in microphones, auto pairing, which means that the left and the right, or the right and the left, depending on how you say it, will sync to one another seamlessly, in theory. It is Bluetooth 5.3. We're looking at 32.8 feet, roughly, for Bluetooth range. Rounded off to 33, but that's what most companies do. And the play time is between 6 to 8 hours with Bluetooth ANC on, or 8 to 10 hours with Bluetooth off. So it doesn't say anything about the charging case. So my assumption is that that's the full battery life, which isn't very great, but it's something. Anyway, with that being said, let's unbox this together, see if there's any other specifications that I need to know about, and see if this is actually worth the asking price of $10. So let's unbox these together. Everything that you see inside the box is as is. Of course, I do review these products over a certain amount of time. So don't worry, when you see me with this on, that's the unboxing and all that stuff. But when I actually do the review and you notice the clothes is changing, it's a different day. I only have about maybe 5 onesies, so I do recycle them. It is what it is. So when you unbox this right here, you have the buds themselves, you have the case itself, and then you have the, what is it called? The charger cable. In addition to that, you do have this booklet which gives you instructions, but I'm going to put this to the side for now because we don't need it. I'm just going to show you the buds. I want to give a dedicated section talking about the actual instructions because there's no application support, so you will need to know those instructions just in case you threw the box away or you happen to misplace it. So first things first, and again, apologize for the sniffling and stuff. I really enjoy doing videos and I was excited about this because they have noise cancellation, so I didn't want to wait like a week and a half or something until I got better. So right here, we do have a cable. I want to go ahead and say that this cable is probably about 8 inches or so, because I just put it up to my phone. My phone is 6.6. This is a little bit longer than my phone. So I want to say about 8 inches or so. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. I'm not too sure, but it's definitely underneath a foot. If you have your own USB-C cable, no big deal. We do have the case right here, as you can see. Pop this open. Right side fits right, left side fits left. In case you're confused about, not knowing which side is left and which side is right, keep in mind that the right side is only going to fit in this engrave. And I'm going to double check to see if the buds have the little symbol on it. Even if it doesn't, it's still easy to figure out. This is the indicator light on the front right here. You do have the USB-C on the bottom. 5 volts seems to be the maximum, so it's not going to have fast charging or quick charging or anything like that. Pretty basic. And no wireless charging or anything, but I do think this case size is pretty small. To kind of give it a comparison, and this is by no means talking badly about this product, because this is the headset that I always use. This right here is the Liberty 4 Pros. So when you compare the size, like I said before, if you turn it sideways, this is thinner. It's a little bit thinner, just not by much, but it's a little bit thinner, and this is definitely smaller, so some people might find this easier to carry. Of course, if you're shopping at Five Below for headphones, you're not looking for the best headphones, you're looking for something to hold you over. So I'm going to put that to the side right there. Right now we have the buds themselves, which I'm thinking that they probably have no charge in them. Oh, perfect. Right here it says the right side on the bud, so you'll know inside of this case, open it up, fit it in the right side. Now, I do want to say that if you fit it in the left side, it's not going to go in. It's not going to fit. So right side, right side. And then you have the indicator right here that says left, and that goes in the left side. Before we do that, if you look at this design, I don't know what they were going with, because at first when I looked at the back, it kind of reminded me of AirPod Pros a little bit. Especially the design of the headset itself. This rubber tip is actually on an angle, so it looks like it's going to possibly fit in the ear better and alleviate any type of pressure. That's what I'm hoping that they went for, but that's just me speculating. For all I know, this design has been in the cut and nobody tested it out. Quality control doesn't seem to be a thing with cheaper headphones for whatever reason. But if you take the rubber tip off, as you can see, you can just pop it back on. Now the downside to this, is that, just listen to me while I'm talking. The downside is that I don't see any extra rubber tips inside the box. So whatever it comes with seems like it's the only thing that you're going to get, which, again, you know, I think that that's a bad thing. Granted, you did add noise cancellation, but if you want people to buy a product, you got to give them the other pieces necessary so it can fit their ear. Now, luckily, I do have rubber tips for every single headset that I have, and I hold on to them brand new, so I can always switch them out. But that's just me. That's not the average person. But so far, if we're just talking about design and look, I do think that this is a pretty solid headset. But realistically, we got to definitely check out, see how well it works in real time. So there's two ways to normally sync a headset. We're going to try them both, though I think the second way is going to work for this one. What we have right here is you can open up the case, and sometimes, depending on the technology, the left and the right bud will sync to one another, and then you're good to go. I'm going to press pair. I don't think it's going to actually be in pair mode. I think you have to take this outside of the case, but for video purpose, I'm just going to go through the process anyway. All right, so nothing's happening. Let me go back here. Now I'm going to take them outside the case. You see the beeping on the outside? It's in pairing mode, and you're going to see each bud basically communicate with each bud. So it looks like the right bud and the left bud are finally communicating with one another. We're going to go back to Bluetooth pairing, and what popped up? ep-0715 Now, granted, you may be wondering what that name is. I don't know either. It's probably a code name that they use for their product when it comes to product numbers and things like that. I forget the exact name, like SKU, not SKU codes, but product numbers. I'm going to go ahead and tap it. It's going to ask me, do I want to sync my contacts and call history? You don't have to say yes. I'm going to press pair. Now, this option only pops up for Android users. If you are using a tablet or a gaming PC that has Bluetooth or an iPhone, it's just going to connect automatically when you go to sync and tap it. Follow these instructions, and you should be perfectly fine with syncing this product. You do need to take the earbuds outside of the case. And before we end this part of the video, I'm just going to pop them back inside the case, like so. And as you can see, it disconnected. So these are in fact connected to this phone right now. So before we move forward in the video, let's talk about the instruction manual. I can talk to you about music and sound quality and fit and feel, which we are going to get to that. But you need to know how to use the buds themselves. And if you hear a cat in the background, no, she's not in the heat. She just plays with a lot of toys, and she wants us every 2 seconds to run to her. But I'm a little busy right now. So anyway, as soon as you open up this case, what are you going to see? It says product overview. Make that a little bit closer. Shows you the bud, shows you the case, shows you the charger, gives you the instructions. It lets you know the specifications down here, that it takes 2 full hours in order to charge these buds. Although with ANC, it does say ANC. It does say the frequency and different things. Most people aren't going to know what any of this means. You're just probably just more interested in how good are the buds. But for people that are a little bit more advanced in this technology, you have this right here to figure out if the range, Bluetooth range, and codecs and all that stuff is good for you. Anyway, you have power on, power off. It shows you how to do it manually, because there's times where you might need to do that. Pair earbuds with your mobile device. It shows you how to do that. And look, it says the name, ep-0715 So I was right about that. Reconnect wireless earbuds to your mobile device. Tells you how to do that. Disconnect. Answer phone calls. Right here. You actually press and hold the button for 2 seconds to reject the call. To answer or reject the call. To end the call, you just press the control area at any side of the earbud with a beep sound to end it. So to be honest with you, I think that answering the calls should be single button press, because depending on the touch controls of this particular headset, I do want to go ahead and say it might be a little harder for people to remember what the touch is, or they might accidentally touch it. So having it where it taps once and it hangs up, to me, isn't bad. And double tapping to answer isn't a bad thing too, because you might single tap by mistake and answer it when you weren't trying to do that. Functions, you have the pause play, short press on touch control area, go back to previous song, double click, advance the next song, double click the right bud, and there's double click left. So double click left to go to previous song, double click the right bud to go to next song. Voice assistance is press and hold control area for 2 seconds. Then you have transparency A on, off, and transparency mode on. ANC off puts it back on regular mode. And then you have a transparency mode. In order to do that, you do a triple click, it says right here. So there you go. Now, let's tell you about charging the buds and pretty much everything else that you don't really need on the back of this. So just make sure you screenshot this in case you guys want the actual instructions. So with that being said, let's move on with this video. So let's talk about the quality of sound when it came to the music. And these are the buds right here. So you know what I'm reviewing. Now, if you're looking over here, I keep doing that. Looking over here, this is where the little music menu is. I use a power amp for anyone that's interested on Android. I paid for it about, who knows, 10 years ago. Like when it first came out, I think I paid for it and I had it to this day. So whenever I use an Android device that is non-Samsung, then, you know, because Samsung has their own music player, I use power amp for the most part. Now, I didn't tweak any of the settings whatsoever. And I'm not sure how to report this, but I'm just going to say it because there's no wrong way to say it. The good about this headset is that the maximum volume is very loud. And granted, the max volume doesn't distort the music. I do want to also say, as a negative, there's a film, like a grainy effect for every song that you listen to, and it is very noticeable. Granted, you can still jam out to your music. I was vibing, you know, just headbanging back and forth and listening to some Juice WRLD songs like that. But I still notice all of those sounds. So if I was to put in a headset that's of better quality, we're not talking about hundreds of dollars, just $20 headset, it's night and day for the sound. The bass, in my opinion, was pretty good for the most part, but it does suffer when it came to like death metal songs. I actually played some Slipknot Before I Forget. I did a song called Redneck. It's made by Lambs and something. I forget what it's called. I just wanted to get the range of the quality, right? This could not handle that bass. Granted, it did play the entire song. It wasn't that it was distorted. You could definitely tell that however that song was produced, or better yet, let's say you use FL Studio and you use 808s, beats, and so many different things and instruments. A lot of people combine multiple beats together and make it one note. This struggles to play it. It doesn't sound like the way it's supposed to. So if I play a song on an open speaker versus these, versus let's say, I'm not even going to say an expensive headset. Let's say this right here, which is a P30Is. You can get this at Ross for $20. You can get it the same price on sale on Amazon. This is jam-packed with features. The sound profiles is dramatically different. You can tell that the drivers for the white headphones just aren't that strong. They're just not really that good. Will it completely ruin your music experience? I don't think so. I think that the average person that's using this is going to like this a lot better than some of the other bass Jaxx products, because it does have active noise cancellation, which we're going to talk about in a little. It does have transparency mode. Is it the strongest? No. The ANC on this and the transparency mode on this, if I'm being completely honest here, it didn't really enhance the music, in my opinion. Transparency mode, I don't even like it. The ANC mode is below average, in my opinion. There really was no reason to even include ANC. It would have made a lot more sense to me if they would have just gave it like a 24-hour battery life, 6 to 10 hours on a charge or something like that, and then you have an additional 16 hours inside the case. That would have made a lot more sense. I think that would have been better for people's lifestyles. But by adding in gimmicky features, because remember, ANC is not a gimmick. This is a feature that's been around for a very long time. Unfortunately, they're using the worst aspects of ANC. And that's just, you know, it is what it is. But when it comes to, you know, rock music, playing Linkin Park, a couple songs, some hit songs, it didn't sound that bad. But there is, like I said earlier, I don't know if I re-recorded this part, but there is a grainy effect on the headset. So the louder it turns up, it's not that the music distorts, it's that the grainy effect gets more apparent and more stronger. Like someone has taken a paper bag from the other room. You got your door open, they're standing on the opposite side of the room and they're crinkling the bag very lightly. So you know someone's there, you know something's happening. It may not affect your video. It may not get you to re-record. It may not get you to switch the headset. The quality of sound is average at best on this headset, but that grainy sound is still there. So that's something to think about, especially if you're recording and doing videos, you're going to hear it. But anyway, that is the music section. Hopefully that made things as clear as possible. I know I had good and bad to say. The good is that if you compare this to other bass Jaxx products, this is probably going to beat them out in eternal volume, maximum volume, I mean. Those other products don't have ANC or transparency mode. So when you do use it, yeah, it's not that great, but it is better than having no ANC and no transparency mode, you get what I mean? So there's the ups and downs for this particular headset. Let's go over to the next section. Let's talk about a couple things. One is going to be the microphones. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let you guys judge how you feel about the microphones. Currently, I'm connected to my actual device, my phone itself. I synced it to my primary device. and I ended up using these, and I'm speaking to you in the buds right now. So if this clarity is something that you like, there you go. If this lack of clarity is something that you like, there you go. I'm going to leave that to you, the consumer, to decide that yourself. But I am going to do this entire section with the earbuds in. So, needless to say, when it comes to the fit and feel, it's not that these are uncomfortable, but what I will say is that within probably 15-20 minutes, I did feel a little uneasiness with the bud. Now, if you look at this design right here, if you notice, the bud is like kind of on an angle, and all of this is going inside of your ear. Because there's so much plastic going inside your ear right here, it's not soft silicone, it's hard plastic. It's not very comfortable, in my opinion. It doesn't hurt my ear unless I wear it for long periods of time. And I also do want to say that I actually changed the rubber tips on these buds. Granted, they don't come with any, but for the review purposes, obviously they're going to stay on here for review purposes. But because I have my own private buds, I did use these and switch them out, and that ear soreness, the ear fatigue that I felt before, pretty much, it didn't completely go away, but it was dramatically dropped, where I could wear them for a couple hours, and then I didn't feel any type of ear fatigue, and that's actually a good thing. So if you get these, for the average person, if you're used to Bass Jaxx and any of their products, I think you'll be perfectly fine. If you have other Bass Jaxx products at home and you have those little extra rubber tips, my suggestion is try these out. If you don't like the way these rubber tips feel, switch them out immediately with a model that you have, and you're going to get instant relief. But some people might like the size that have smaller ears. I just feel like these are a little bit small. Or it's a possibility that it's not that they're small ear tips, it's the design, the way they are just oddly shaped, because it's sticking directly over here. Most buds are like sitting this way and it's sticking outward more here to go directly to the ear to sit this way. This one is going directly in the ear canal facing the opposite way, so you feel more of that plastic housing in your ear. But outside of that, it's not too bad. So to answer your question, whether these buds are actually worth it, I have kind of yes and no. Let's talk about the yes aspect. We're talking about these guys right here, in case anyone skipped to this part of the video. Here we are. These are the buds. I do think that these buds are very good for what they do in terms of price tag and the store that they're in. Now, with that being said, let me talk about how earbuds really are in real life. To put this in perspective, these headphones have active noise cancellation mode. This is called the P30Is. Active noise cancellation mode. ANC. Wind reduction, so you can walk outside in windy conditions and still be able to talk to people and they can hear you. Extreme bass. Equalizer settings. I believe it has its own gaming mode. I could be wrong about that. It does have custom EQs. You can change the touch controls. You can do everything, right? Right now, you can find these buds on Amazon for $19.99. And if you go to your local Burlington Coat Factory, you can get them for about $19.99. Now, if you can't find them, I want to tell you something else. If you go to the Ross, you might be able to find the P20Is or the P25Is, which also are like $14, $20, depending on what they sell them for. The purpose of me telling these things is that we've entered a new era, like years ago, where the gatekeepers of buds, Beats, Samsung, Apple, I'm going to name them, JBL, even Skull Candy, I'm going to throw them in there, Bose, they used to be gatekeepers of how buds are supposed to be. Headphones, over-the-head headphones. When the new technology of buds came out, if you notice, it took years for Beats to get on that craze. It took years for Bose to get on that craze. It took years for some of the higher end companies to do that. These headphones started getting popular. You have so many different designs, clips, and so many different ones. Right here, I have the J-Lab clips right here, which surprisingly, these are growing on me. All I can say is that when you start pricing things online, especially for Amazon sales or just everyday sales, $10 seems a little bit too much after taxes, like $12, whatever it is. But you can get something for about $21, $22 after taxes that is going to last you a whole lot longer and going to give you a substantially better battery life and music experience, talking experience. There is not one thing this headset doesn't have. Talk about the P30Is, that's better than these in every single category. Now, you heard what I said. Let's backtrack a little bit. The reason why I say that they're decent enough is because if you're a person where you don't really shop on Amazon, you're not here trying to get the best thing in the world, you don't really care because you might have headphones at home, you just need something to commute with real fast or have a conversation and that's it, you just need to buy something fast, this will do you justice. But if you're using it as a primary headset on a regular basis, with that mediocre battery life, it's just nah. But when you compare it to other Five Below products, it's not so bad. So there's an upside and there's a downside, so just remember that. But anyway, like and subscribe like always, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care, peace. I am sick as a dog, and it's time for me to lay down. Peace.